Hello and welcome to another Tower of God video. I'm sorry for no recent uploads. We just had a fire down the mountain. Like, we lose power every other day. So today I have power, so I don't really know what's gonna happen, but I have power right now, so I might as well just talk about the Gustang and everything with it. Also, like, if anybody wants to join the recruitment event, that'll be great. I like titles and I like rewards, and we all like doing that, right? So please, I beg, please. Anyways, for those who didn't summon on Doan, congratulations, you did the right thing. Gustang is actually broken, like disgustingly broken, and don't let anybody think tell you that he's not, because he's actually broken. Wait, is my camera good? I don't know. Okay, I'm distracting myself. Now let's go back. I mean, he's really good. Gustang is really strong. Like, actually, like, broken. People just thought that he was gonna do more, but he's a mage unit. He was gonna only do damage. That's his whole thing, and his damage is actually kind of disgusting. I think he easily does the most damage in the game. I think he's stronger than White in terms of damage. People just don't get it. Like, there's a lot of moving parts to him, so like he's gonna take a long time to explain. But he's really strong. So if you want a should you summon, yes, you should summon for him. He's really strong, and also we don't know when he's gonna come back. So because we don't know that, consider the fact that he's also really strong. She should get him. I think the next time he might even slightly, theoretically, hypothetically show up is like during the 2nd year anniversary. And that's a long time away. That's 6 months. Okay, so let's just summon on this guy and be happy that he's here. He's really strong. So enough glazing this man and disrespecting Doan for no reason again. Let's talk about his kit. So there's a lot of moving parts with his character. So let's talk about him step by step, okay? And we're going to talk about him. We're going to start with his special move, and we'll go to his passive. So his special move is called Recitation of Destruction. Gustang recites a passage of destruction for 2 seconds. Actually, no. I take it back. Let's talk about his secret library. Let's talk about his passive. So the way this passive works, before I read it, is that there are 3 stages. 3 stages. And each stage has an effect. And for him to go to the next stage, every single enemy has to be affected by that effect, essentially. And then after that effect gets done, you go to the next one. And then once that effect gets done, you go to the next one. Each effect becomes weaker and weaker, but his damage increases by each stage, okay? So stage 1 is unleashes a wave, and then dealing blank of Gustang's attack as damage. Keep in mind that it has to be Gustang's attack, so you want to focus on his attack when it comes to this character. Unleash a wave, fight blank of Gustang's attack as damage and silences the enemy for 6 seconds. So that means he can't use abilities. Okay? And then stage 2 summons a powerful wind that knocks back enemies to the battlefield edge and deals blank damage of Gustang's attack, as Gustang's damage and reduces moving speed by 50%. So instead of you not being able to use your skills, now the enemy will move slower. They can still use their skills and attack, but they'll move slower. And then stage 3 comes in, does a stupid amount of damage. Scatters flames across the battlefield, dealing damage equal to blank of match HP or blank of attack for bosses. So there's no effect here. It's the last stage. There's no more stage to go after this, right? So that's how it works. Let's look at his now. Let's actually look at his ult, okay? And keep in mind that this passive only procs if you use your special move. So the special move will happen, and while that is happening, the passive will happen like immediately after or a little bit after. Gustang recites a page of destruction for 2 seconds, becomes invincible, and teleports to the rear of his allies. During this time, all enemy movement is frozen for 2 seconds, and the magic circle deals damage equal to 400 or blank of his attack 3 times, stunning enemies for 4 seconds. You might be thinking that 400 is kind of low, and it is low, but the ult is just a way to proc his passive, and the passive is what he does his real damage, okay? Keep that in mind. Also, his damage is really low because technically, imagine if like his ultimate is like stage 0, where he does like a really small amount of damage, but the enemy can't do anything at all for 2 seconds. And then stage 1 happens, and he does a little bit of damage, and then he stops them from using abilities, right? And then he does a medium amount of damage, and then he makes them do things really slowly, so the enemy can barely do any attacks. but he will do a moderate amount of damage. And by the third one, he does like a broken, stupid, crazy amount of damage, but the enemy can like attack you. Right? We got it? We get it? We get it? Okay, good. So while this is happening, while the ult is going, or actually doing the majority of the fight, when Gustang's on the field, he'll do two things. He'll do the Undying red flare, okay? He'll summon a wall and deals 400% of his attack. Again, attack is really important, okay? Just some more chip damage, more chip damage, okay? And reduces the energy by 200. So, and because it does a burning flare, I'm assuming it does damage, right? With each hit. So it does constant damage. Keep in mind that his ult, his passive will also do damage consistently with his passive, and this also does damage consistently. Or he does damage in general. There's just a bunch of all his skills does a bunch of damage consistently, including his passive, which really works really well with his Banquet of Blades, because Banquet of Blades does this. Gustang enters blade deployment state for 14 seconds, increases physical pierce by blank each time his skills hits an enemy. Okay, so no, my bad, I read that wrong. Okay, each time his skills hits an enemy, he throws a blade at the target and deals damage equal to blank of his attack. So while damage is being done by his ultimate and his passive and the consistent damage of the burn, all those will just proc this blade, just do consistent 200 blank of his attack, right? This will increase a lot. So like consistently more. I think, okay, should I just go to his preview? I could, yeah. If we go, is it this one? Yeah, I don't know. I don't care. Yeah, preview. I'm blind. I'm blind. Anyways, actually, this is a good time to actually look at his skills. I know this is kind of bugged too, so unfortunately it doesn't really show everything correctly because the flame will go behind the guy, so you don't really see the blaze. I don't know, you don't see the blaze working, but see, this will be his ult, this, and then just more and more. But yeah, I don't know why this is kind of bugged. I'm not gonna lie to you, but that's essentially how his skills work. Now we got that out of the way. So as a repetition, think of his ult and his passive as like one big thing, and his ult is stage 0. We'll do a small amount of damage, and then it will. That's the ult. We'll do a small amount of like a minute amount of damage, and then it will completely stops the enemy from moving. And then his passive will proc stage 1. Imagine his ult is stage 0. Stage 1. It will stop. It will silence the enemy, but it will do like a decent amount of damage. Once all the enemies are hit with the silence, it will go to stage 2, and then it will do a moderate amount of damage, and it will while doing a moderate amount of damage, it will knock them back and it will reduce their speed. And then once that's done, it will go to stage 3, and stage 3 will do a stupid amount of damage, especially when you have his revolution, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, now we can talk about his equipment. Stage 1. So his equipment is mostly focused on his blades and other stuff too, but mostly his blades and his flame. So level 1 increases damage factor by 200. So 200 plus the buff you get from increasing upwards, right? And then you have the unread mage is enhanced, and it's also increasing duration of it, which is really good. So he keeps doing burning damage. Will proc his blaze to do more damage because he's getting hit by one of his skills. And then his recovery is 200. Keep in mind, because these energies really like stack up to each other. Anyways, and then Gustang's Banquet of Blades is enhanced, increasing physical pierce by an additional 40%. Yeah, so the blades do more damage, do more consistent damage. That's nice to have. The 200 is really good because everything is based on his special attack. Because his special attack is what starts his passive. So you want to have his ult as quickly and as much as possible, because then you'll be able to proc his passive, right? So anyways, now that that's out the way, let's talk about him, about his am I blind? I'm really struggling today. I don't know what's wrong with me. His revolution. So his revolution is actually insane because he's a family head and he's a mage. He has way more nodes than even an SSR plus. So keep that in mind. Actually, no. Before we even talk about that, let's talk about the pockets because he's a family head. I forgot to mention this. He has more passive with his pockets. So to use him effectively, he is a very much a he's a really high investment character, and you'll feel his damage increase a lot as you get more dupes with him. And because he is a damage dealing unit, you want to have him maxed out dupes. Like with Gustang, no, not with Gustang, with Charmer, you can kind of get away with it when not having him maxed out dupe, because he's technically a support that does a good amount of damage because of his revolution, right? He's a support, and then as he gets by the time he gets to like Rainbow, he becomes a stupid damage dealing unit, and part of that is due to the pocket certification. So imagine a damage dealing unit with this buff is crazy. Look at this, 40% on like HP, attack, defense. Then you have another, so that's 80% increase of stats, 80%. Then you have 200 here, 200 based on of the weapon that you get, and then you have another 500. So he starts off with 900 if you have him rainbowed, which is a lot better than 500 that you get off an SSR plus, right? That's 400 more. That's crazy, right? It's stupid. Like, he gets a stupid amount of buffs, and he's a physical character, which means a lot of ignition weapons work on him. But we'll talk about that later. Anyways, let's go back to Revolution, right? His Revolution mostly focuses on his passives and his ult and how well they work together. But here, let's talk about these first. Okay, Undying Red Flame. Instead of taking and reducing the energy, you take the 200. So this helps overall because let's say you use your ult for the first time and now your bar is really low. You do this move, you get an extra 200 energy, meaning that you can spam his ult quicker. So that's really, really good. And then you have this is actually an underrated ability because the Bucket of Blade lasts for a decent amount of time. So while the blade is doing extra damage based on how many times you hit the goddamn enemy, and there's like 5 different ways to hit the enemy with this character, based off the flames, the passive, what stage the passive you are, and the ult, you will do a stupid, and the burning too. It's so stupid. This blade will keep doing damage, but while the blade is active, you get 80% physical resistance and magical increase. So if you have 20% of magical and physical resistance on your character, and most people who play the game for a little bit amount of time should, and if you don't, I could make a try essence guide, or I could just or you can just add the resistance on your sub nodes if you really want to be a little bit safer. He's gonna be really hard to kill because you can get 100 relatively easily with this alone. Obviously, it's not the entire time, but it's a large amount of time, which is really good, especially since you're invincible on your ult too. But anyways, it gets crazier. Okay, it gets crazier. Gustang's special move base increased by 30% each time the recitation of the expression is used. Basically, it means every time you use this ability, every time you use your special move, it gets extra pierce damage. The special move that pierce damage 30% is really good. Max of 90% if you use your special move 3 times. I'm not gonna lie, you probably won't even get to that point, but this is just like a thing of where it's okay, it's nice to have just if you fight a really hard enemy, or he's really good for bossing too, right? He'll be really good for bossing now that I think about it, but either way, that's really, really good. You also have, this is where it gets crazy. Okay, Gustang's Secret Library Stage 3 is enhanced, dealing 1600 of his attack as additional damage and inflicts unremovable burns. Okay, dealing additional 400% of his attack is in damage every second. So again, attack is really important. So with 1600 attack is insane. And it's also there's no limit to the stacks. The stacks only really apply to the 400%. But let's say you're able to proc the special move 3 times, so you get 90% special move pierce alongside with I can't fucking read 1200 attack percentage by the 3rd ult. He's killing almost everything. He does so much damage, bro. He does so much damage. It's insane, right? He does more damage the more times you spam his ult. And not only that, because he's doing consistent burn damage, it procs his blades. It procs his blades does more damage with his blades. So like, and with this he steals energy. So if we just look at like things he does to the enemy alone, okay, he stuns the enemy, he silences the enemy, he reduces movement speeds, he also steals energy. He debuffs the enemy so much, okay, and he does a stupid amount of damage. His damage is consistent, and he also he's like he's literally the opposite of Gustang. You know how like Gustang, he is in the story too, but in the game he's a support unit that becomes a damage dealing unit, but he's mostly a support unit, right? He's mostly a support unit that does a decent to a really good amount of damage, whereas Gustang does a stupid amount of damage and he debuffs the enemy a lot, whereas Gustang really buffs you instead. But he's more of a damage dealing unit than a debuffing unit, whereas Tromray is a more of a support unit but less of a damage dealing unit, but he still does a lot of damage. Same thing with Gustang, where Gustang does really good debuffs, but he's mostly damage dealing unit. And there's so many moving parts to his kit that does a lot of damage that he, with all these like procs and percentages, that he will do a stupid amount of damage, right? So people when he first comes, I'm not sure how it's going to be in the future, but while he's just coming out, people think that he's okay, he could be stronger, but I don't think people really understand that he's a very high investment character, and you won't really get a lot of value into him unless if you rainbow him, and you won't get a lot of value into him unless if you invest in his revolution, because his revolutions are kind of crazy, and not even just like the passives, but just everything in between. So I'm talking about, like, because he's a mage, I'm talking about these, okay? Affected is really important because you want to be able to proc you want to make sure that all his enemies actually get hit by the effect that he's giving them, or else he won't be able to go to the next stage. So that's why it's over here. Effective is really important because you want, like I said, proc his moves, his stages for his passive. Accuracy is really good. He's a mage, you never know. Maybe, especially when you get to higher floors, but that's whatever. Swiftness is really big too. Literally, he has everything that you need to make. Swiftness is good because it makes you proc skills quicker, helps you proc specials quicker. Swiftness is just the best stat in the game, or one of the best stats in the game. It's very important. Like, if you have slow swiftness, you can't do anything. The higher swiftness you have, the more basic attacks you can do, the quicker the moves, quicker everything. It's great. Critical rate increases your damage crazily, and then attack. This is gonna be big. This is your bread and butter right here. Okay, if you don't have a high attack stat, you won't do a lot of damage. That point blank period. That's just how it goes. Crit rate, it's insane. It's important. Swiftness, like I said, really important. HP is whatever. Special move pierce. You already have 60. Okay, 30, and with 30 with the 60, that's 90% pierce if you have this maxed out. Critical damage increase percentages 90, and then you can also have critical damage increase and crit rate in your ignition weapon. Not saying that you should do that, but if you really want to go through that route, you can easily, even without the crit rate as your sub node, you can definitely get 200% relatively easy, especially when you have crit rate built into your nodes anyways. And then attack is really important. I'll get to that later. Anyways, cooldown reduction. Normally this is like the last stat you get on Revolutions 6, but get it early on because you have extra stats here. Okay, and max reduction is crazy because you get 30% if you max it out. 30% cooldown reduction on top of that, which means that you'll be able to use your skills more. Your blaze will be more there. Your flames will be there more consistently. It's stupid. So you have crit damage increase, crit rate, attack, swiftness, effect hit, accuracy, and then you have this bullshit over here. You can get 600 energy, elimination energy, if you kill an enemy, which means you'll be able to keep spamming your ult. Are we serious right now? So let's say your ult kills someone, or you kill someone. Okay, then you get 600 energy for free, and then you also get with the flames you get an extra 200 free. So like if you have the flame active and then you kill someone, you get 800 energy, which basically means you get your ult like almost instantly. It's ridiculous. It's this character. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like this character is so strong. Okay, because like, anyways. So, but yeah, the way that but the thing is with him, right, is that for him to really be effective, you need to use his ult like twice or three times. But the game makes it so easy for you to do that. Basically the way that you want to have Gustang is you want him to survive enough for him to use his skills, his specials at least twice or three times. Is essentially what's happening. And you need him to go through his stages for him to do the stupid amount of damage. So like effect hit is really important, and I guess accuracy is important too. To solidify his passives. Once those are solidified and you can start cranking out good ignition weapons, and you invest your resources, because you're gonna be investing a lot of resources onto this man. Once you invest your resources, it's done. He's disgustingly broken. That's just how he is. Like, he's one of those characters that you want to see immediate effect, even when you rainbow him, until you invest in his revolution. And that's what people aren't getting. But he's actually disgustingly broken. Like, actually insanely broken, to the point where like I feel like people just don't get it. Like, he does a stupid amount of damage. Now, obviously I don't have him rainbowed, so we'll have to see, right? But essentially, if you want to talk about team making, you can never go wrong with my queen, Abelda. You know, you want him to survive. You want Gustang to survive a lot. So low key, it doesn't really hurt to have an act, give him some good survivability. He works on almost any team. So honestly, he also works good with other Gustang too. Those two work really well together, because you know he gives attack and defense, and he already has physical. He also has resistances. So if you don't want to use him in red, you want to use him. He just works really well everywhere. He works well with Ihwa, Summer Ihwa too, because he keeps him alive. He works well with almost any support. He'll work well with her, like Garam too. Like it's stupid. Like, he works well with almost any support. But if you want like not pay to play characters, I want to say he might work okay with Huarian, because of the pierce that you get to physical 16% physical pierce with his blades. You can do that as well too, but he's going to be mostly the damage dealing unit. So a character that you want to have around him are characters that can help him survive, or characters that can give him more energy and give him more attack. So attack and energy is what you really want. So obviously, where is she? She'll be really good too. You know, she'll be great. There we go. You know. Look at that. But yeah, they work really well. I think. I want to say, I'm not sure if she will work. I didn't think about her that much, but this is cool, I guess. Yeah, increased stiffness is pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna. Yeah, she's a really good support, I think. And then this one might be pretty good too. Yeah, this one, she might work really well too. I want to see some. I'm kind of curious with her specifically, but the red team now is good. Like, we don't need to worry about red team for a long time, because the Gustang is great. So let's talk about ignition weapons too, because ignition weapons is a very interesting topic, because there's lots of ignition weapons that will work well with him. Unlike Yuri, where it was pretty obviously going to be just this one, Raihana. Don't use Raihana on Gustang, please. But you want some good ignition weapons. Elsa is always really good, because for one, attack speed, you want that, right? He's also a mage unit, so he'll be in the back. So, which helps, because set 4 is this: if the wielder avoids getting hit for 5 seconds, their attack increases by 50% and their attack speed increases by 30 seconds. So if you have a 50% attack increase until you get hit, that's stupid. That's stupid. You know how stupid that is? Because all his fucking percentages is based on his attack. So if you get 50% attack, which will increase all his attack but by 50%, theoretically. I'm not sure how it scales, but it could be 50%. And then also attack speed increases by 30, so that will help him proc his skills more quicker and help his ult quicker. Another good set, I think, might be Idea, actually, because look at this.
Okay, when a wielder uses the special move for the first time, all of idea support module activates and restores the wielder energy by 500. So let's say, I don't know. Let's say you use your special skill for the first time, okay, or you kill someone, okay, and then you have the 200. The 200 steel off the flame, and then you have the elimination does 600, right? I think it does. Elimination does 600. Well, if you have the bonus elimination, kills them, you get those energy, and then you get 500, or you get 500 energy. You'll be able to ult like twice in a row, which will also proc his 30% increase of special move, and also increase the burn from his revolution if you have him revolution 5 rainbow. So being able to proc his specials twice in a row would also be really strong. Now, if you're asking me which one is better, I think that if you are a free-to-play player or you don't have him rainbowed, then I think the idea set might be pretty good for him, because you'll be able to proc his ult better, which will probably help you do more damage. But I think that L set might make you get his ult slower, but I think you'll do overall more damage because of avoid getting hit. So I think it's also a high risk, high reward, because if you get hit by an assassin, and there's a lot of characters now that hits backline, and if you are untargetable and this character is not untargetable, you never know. This might not proc as consistently as you want it to be anymore because of the characters that we have and how high things are on the higher floors. Another set that I thought might be interesting is Rafflesia, if that's how I'm saying correctly, because you increase swiftness and HP by 10, and HP by 10%. You guys can read. And also, look at this. If the wielder is inflicted with a status effect, it is immediately removed with a Flare Blessing, and the wielder becomes immune to status effect for 2 seconds and recovers 200 energy. So you can get 200 energy if you get hit by a status effect, which is obviously less than 500, but it's still good to have because you're reducing status effects, which means that if you don't get silenced, which means you'll be able to use your move quicker. It just, like I said, it just depends on what you're looking for, what type of support you have on you, and what's going on over there. But honestly, those will be the 3 sets that I would suggest. 2 of them increases energy to make it quicker for you to do your special, and then the other one does increase attack, which will give you more damage and can also help you increase your ult quicker, but not as quickly as some of the other 2 depending on the situations, right? But my 2 personally, I would either pick L set or I would pick Idea. You might be thinking Sundance might be a good idea, but Sundance is not a really good idea because he doesn't really care about his basic attack. Like, you're only using his basic attack for you to increase your swiftness, so you can do your special move. But he's not really reliant on basic attack. Like, his basic attack does nothing. So that's why. But it's cool. I guess you can do some more damage, but I don't think Sundance is too crazy, right? And then also you can never go wrong with Cell set if you're scared about survivability. But he also has really good survivability based off his if you have him Revolution 5 with his blades, because he'll get 80% physical and magical resistance off of that. So not a bad set. But if you don't have him rainbowed and you want him to survive longer, then I guess it's not a bad set either. But I don't know. I'm a little iffy on Celis on him. But Celis is always a safe set to pick when you don't really know what you want to do with your character yet. And then I wouldn't really use this either because this is also based on physical attack too. Like when you dodge, you get more basic attack increase. It's physical pierce, but I don't think that it's really that good of a set for him. So yeah, like I said before, that's the sets that I would choose. L set, or I would use the Idea set. I don't know which one's better. I think I'll have to do some experimentation on that, but I think both of those 2 would be the best ones for him. Now let's look at his shenanigans. Okay, now let's summarize. Okay, good. There's a lot of moving parts. I'll summarize, then I'll go. Okay, either way. So think of his ult, and his passive is one thing. He ults and it'll be 0%. Not 0%, but a small amount of damage, but he'll stun the enemy. And then stage 1 will happen. the enemy will be silenced. Then once the enemy is silenced, they'll do a small amount of damage, right? And if they're all silenced and you go to the next one, then he will not silence, he'll movement slow the enemy, and he'll do a moderate amount of damage. And then once they're slowed, he'll go to stage 3, and once he goes to stage 3, he'll like do a stupid amount of damage, and then you'll be great, right? The more you spam his special move, okay, the more buffs you get. We get more damage. You get more damage, right? You get continuous burn damage. You get extra special pierce damage, and you also have extra. The burn damage is permanent stack, right? Every time you use a special move. So that's just the way to make the special moves better. And then while this is happening, you have the blades, and the blades will proc every single time an enemy gets hit by your skills. So the burns from this skill, the burns from the ultimate skill, the passive, I mean every hit by any of those will proc the blades to do more damage. Now if you invest in your weapon, your exclusive weapons, then this gets enhanced, does more damage. This also life steal, this also energy steals. So it doesn't steal the enemy, you take the 200 basically. And then also if you increase the revolutions and everything, then this does more damage on the 3rd stage, and you get more survivability and everything. This character is very high investment, meaning that you'll want to increase a lot of these nodes. So you want to increase effect hit will be pretty good to make sure that your stuff works. Accuracy is also pretty good to have. Swiftness is very, very important. Attack is the most important stat that you want to invest in this character in the nodes. Special move pierce is also very, very strong, will help you that you do more damage. Crit damage increase is amazing. Crit rate, try and get it to 100. With 100. Cooldown reduction makes it easier for you to proc those blades, do more additional damage. And then effect resistance is whatever. And bonus elimination, 600 energy. If you kill someone with any of your moves, you get 600 energy. So max this out. This is very big. Defense is good for survivability, but this is a not crazy important investment, but it is a very important to have defense, right? We got it. Anyway, this character is really, really strong. He has a lot of moving parts, but like I said before, you won't really get to see how good he is unless if you invest a lot in him. Just having him rainbowed is not going to be enough for you to really see how strong he is. You need to min-max your ignition weapon set very highly, and then you have to invest a lot of resources for your revolutions. Then you'll see how strong he is. Gustang is a very, very much a rainbow character. Trauma Ray is not. You can still use Trauma Ray and he still be broken without him being rainbowed. But with Gustang, you need him to be rainbowed for you to really see how strong he is. Because of his pockets, because of his revolution, and just the way that his passive works. You want to spam his ult as much as possible. So yeah, that's the video. I appreciate y'all. But yeah, peace.